So, before starting today's session, I would like to ask about your feedback uh, about our previous session. What do you think, guys? Any questions?
I think it was really good. It was good. And well, not a question, but I think it was good first night session. A lot better than I've expected.
Uh,
it's yeah, because I was a little bit nervous about the virtual class.
True. It's a new normal, so yeah.
Yes.
But the good thing is like people really start accepting it, and it is proving good.
Yeah, I'm the same as you, Grace. Tanya here. First time using Zoom, so I was expecting to see everyone's videos up there. I'm really pleased to say that they're not.
Yeah, that's good. Thanks, Tanya. Anyone else? Myra, Pedro?
For me, it's you're right. It's actually the new normal, so I'm kind of used to it, and yeah, it was really good.
Thanks. So, just a recap about our yesterday session. What we did is, if you look on our learning resources, we covered chapter 1 and half of chapter 2. The first chapter is about CAPM and PMP exam, and some information, some guidelines about these exams. We started our discussion that why someone want to do CAPM or PMP. And then from there, we moved on towards qualifying to take CAPM or PMP exam. And different type of requirements are there for PMP and CAPM. And in fact, within PMP, there are two options: if you are bachelor degree holders, project management experience, and the number of years on projects requirements are comparatively less as compared to for those people who did their high school. Then we talked about how to apply for PMP or CAPM exam, and what are different fee structures, and what is the recommended way to go for it. And then we dig deep into a PMP exam and CAPM exam. We have seen that there are around 200 questions for PMP, 150 questions for CAPM. And then we have seen that how these questions look like and how should we approach towards these questions. And also we discussed that is there any passing marks or not. And then we have found out that if we get around 65 to 69% of the marks in our exam, there are strong chances that we are on mark. But again, PMI really doesn't release any passing marks or any marks for any aspirants. In fact, when you will be using your mock exams, you can set your target to 80%. If you're getting 80% in your exams, I mean from mock exams, then basically you are ready to go for the exam. No need to wait for anything. And then we had a look on different domains that would come on exam, especially before 31st of December. We have seen that there are total 5 domains, starting from initiating, then planning for the projects, executing projects, monitoring and controlling on the projects, and how to appropriately close a project. We have seen that most of the questions will come from project executing domain. Around 62 questions out of 200 questions on PMP exam, and the same ratio would be for the CAP exam would be from project executing domain. Then this particular slide, this is for PMP aspirants. The aspirants who cannot pass their exam or cannot appear for their exam before 31st of December 2020, then they have to prepare a bit more. And in fact, when we will be covering different contents, we will cover all those contents too that will be required to pass exam in 2021. We have seen that all previous domains are combined together into one domain called processes. Just let me open a pen so that I can use it. So from initiating till closing, everything is merged together into one domain called processes. And 50% of the question will come from these. Basically, these processes are about waterfall approach. Waterfall approach is the mature approach, or we call it plan-driven approach, where we develop a thorough plan and then we follow that plan to execute our project. However, two more domains are added by PMI. One is around stakeholders or people, and the other one is understanding of business environment and how it affects on our project activities, project decisions, and project outcomes. We have also seen that recently not only waterfall approach is being used by the professionals, but also they start using other approaches for better outcomes. One of them is Agile. Agile approach is there for almost two decades, and hybrid, that is basically combination of waterfall and Agile approach. We are going to look on Agile and hybrid approaches most probably today. Then we talked about all different type of exam questions that may appear on PMP or CAP exam. We talked about how to study for PMP. We talked about the resources provided to you. Here I want to comment that the learning resource, the first document, in its first chapter, also there are links available where you can get some free PMP prep questions. Though we have already provided you 3 mock exams, but if you want to get more exams, more questions for your prep, the links are provided there. And those links are only for those PMP or CAPM exam which are free. We also talk about when you will be appearing for PMP exam or CAPM exam. In fact, when you are getting ready for it, you always need to think yourself as a project manager. You need not to think yourself as a project coordinator or a team member or a subject matter experts. You need to consider yourself the center of a project, that is project manager. And always you need to think about projects which are large projects, not small or medium-sized projects. Then you will really know that what is the meaning of a particular question and how to answer it. And that was the end of our chapter 1. Then we start discussing different concepts of project management. Firstly, we define project. We have seen that it's a temporary endeavor that result in some unique solutions. Those solutions could be products, could be services, or could be a change within the organization, could be a process improvement for a better value for the business. We have seen different examples of products, services, or change, and then we move towards why project exists. We have seen that there could be multiple reasons for which project exists, but whatever is the reason, the main purpose is to provide business value to the organization. We have also seen the difference between operations and projects and how we can distinguish between two, because there could be chances that there is one question about where the whole context is about operations, and the question is asked either is it a project or it's operation. Then you should be able to tell that it's just an operation. Okay, no need to apply project management processes on it. Then we talked about governance. We talked about a concept called OPM that I call it an umbrella term through which different organizations, they implement their strategies with the help of portfolios, programs, and projects. Then we saw closely that a project And managing a project is basically not only a science, but also an art. When we talk about the art, we talk about all those soft skills, those leadership skills, and we are going to look on those skills today. Uh, and also we have seen that project management could be explained just like a scientific process. And in fact, we talked about that there will be in total 49 processes on which PMI project management framework is established. Uh, I talked about these 49 processes, but we really didn't discuss those processes in detail. Why I talked about project management processes here is because just to fully explain the concept, if I just touch a concept that we didn't study, it really doesn't mean that we fully studied it. It means that that concept will be coming in future slides. So sometimes I will just skim through one concept, but that concept will be fully elaborated in the later discussions. We also talked about different knowledge areas. We really didn't discuss any of the knowledge area, but we are going to discuss all the knowledge areas in much more detail in upcoming sessions. Here in this slide, this is basically OPM, the framework that helps to implement organization strategies with the help of portfolios, programs, and projects. We also talk about PMOs and its different formats. We have seen that few PMOs are supportive, other could be controlling, and few could be fully directive, who are basically responsible of running projects within an organization. The last topic of our yesterday's discussion was around organizations and their structure. We had a look on organizational structures based on project manager's authority, project manager role, and project manager responsibility. We have seen that organizations could be very bureaucratic, very old style structure based. We call them functional organizations, where normally there are CEOs, or there is a governing body, and under that CEOs or governing body, we have different departments. For example, marketing department, finance, HR, or any other type of department. And those departments, they are solely responsible for their activities, and most of the time they work in silos. They really don't interact with each other. And the role of project manager is very minimal here. In fact, all the projects, though there are very few projects in this type of organizations, but whatever projects are launched, they are under each department and head of departments. We also sometimes call them operation managers, line managers, or functional managers. All the projects are handled by those head of the departments. And the role of the project manager is just like a project coordinator or project expeditor, and they only speed up project activities. In functional organizations, the number of projects are much lesser, and most of the time they do their business operations. And the examples are, for example, a manufacturing unit or a sugar factory. These are different examples of functional organizations. And then we have seen that on one end, we have functional organizations. On the other side, we have project-oriented organizations. These type of organizations solely operate based on the projects. They win the projects, they form their project team under a project manager with a lot of authority in terms of resources, budget, and schedule. But bad thing for the project managers and project team members is they really don't have their home. They really don't have their permanent job or their department where they can go back after completing the project. It means if a project is finished, Then if there is no other project, then the whole team is disestablished and team members really don't have any job. We talked about matrix organization. These type of organizations were established, and in fact, most of the organizations in today's world are matrix organizations. The purpose was to get benefits of both project-oriented organization and advantages of functional organizations. And then we saw that matrix organizations could be divided into three types: strong matrix, weak matrix, and balanced matrix. Strong matrix is more like project-oriented organization where power rests with project managers. Weak matrix organizations are more like functional organizations, but project managers have some power. And then balanced matrix organizations where uh, organizational activities are like almost 50-50 in terms of project activities and standard operational activities. Similarly, the power of project managers and the departmental heads are almost 50-50, and it's pretty tough to work in this type of environment for the project managers because they have to fight for the resources, they have to fight for the schedule, they have to fight for the funding. Any question?
Thanks.
Okay, yeah. So this was our yesterday's session. Today we are going to start our discussion where we left. Basically, whatever we discussed so far, we talked about one famous approach, that is plan-driven approach or waterfall approach. Today, we are going to study about project roles again. These roles are in the context of waterfall approach of project management. There are different roles on any project, but the central role is always with the project managers. Project managers are normally assigned by project sponsors. Now, what do you think, guys? What is the role of a project sponsor? What he or she does?
I think, sir, they help in finance.
Yeah. Yes, Myra.
Is Sukanya here, sir? I think they help in finance, maybe.
Yeah. Yeah. So they are the one who basically provide the budget, who start a project. Anybody else?
I think sorry.
Yeah, no, Myra, go ahead, please.
Thank you. Just I think the project sponsor is also another point of escalation for the stakeholders.
Fully agreed. Yeah.
Well, yeah.
Yeah. So if there are some issues with the stakeholders, if there are some conflicts among the stakeholders or within project team, project manager, if he or she cannot resolve, he can also escalate those conflicts to project sponsors. Similarly, if decisions couldn't be made, then PM can refer them to project sponsors. And firstly, as Kanya mentioned, that the project sponsors are the one who provide the budget, who basically is the one who initiate a project. In fact, any project is the baby of a project sponsor. Project sponsor is the person who not only starts a project but ensure that the project is successful. It's not only responsibility of project manager, but also responsibility of project sponsor to ensure that the project would be successful. And if there are any issues or if there are some changes requested by other stakeholders, and if those changes are unnecessary, project sponsor always protect the project from those unnecessary changes. This is another role of a project sponsor. And then no doubt project manager is center of the events. Then there comes project team. When we talk about project team could be divided into two parts. One called subject matter experts, other called project management team. Guys, what do you think? Who could be part of subject matter experts and who could be part of project management team? Subject matter experts, what do you think, guys?
People with the skills and technical knowledge
Yeah,
of change.
yeah. So the people with the technical knowledge, they are the one who are the doers. For example, engineers, for example, construction managers, for example, plumbers, electricians, all those tradies, they could be part of our subject matter expert team. On the other side, on big projects, we always have supportive team for the project managers, and we call them project management team. These team members support the project managers to manage the project in a successful manner. The roles could be, any examples?
Project coordinator.
Yeah, project coordinators.
Developers and consultants.
Yeah. So developers and consultants are part of subject matter experts.
Right.
Yeah, they are the one who really work on project management.
Project managers.
Yeah, project managers. But this team is normally work with the project manager, and one example was project coordinators. Other are project expeditors. Their role is just to speed up the project. Other could be schedulers who develop the schedule. Normally in construction world, they are called uh, programmers who basically write the program, the scheduling program, all the activities with all their different uh, features, when they will start, when they will end, what would be overall duration, so on and so forth. So those schedulers, and then
Admin.
yeah, some planners, but these type of planners are those who support project managers to plan for the projects. Again, we are talking about large projects that could be like $40 million project or even more than that. In that case, we all have these type of roles. Then there comes few other roles. For example, functional managers. Functional managers are the same, the head of departments or operation managers. What do you think, guys? What are the roles of functional managers or operation managers on a project?
Providing resource for them.
Yep. They are the one who provide the resources. And again, when we say resources could be of two types. They could be human resources and they could be physical resources. What else?
Equipment.
Yeah, that comes under physical resources.
What about time?
Yeah.
So, you know, if someone's changing a process in a manufacturing operation, they would allocate time.
Yeah. So basically, when we talk about project team or human resources, they always come with the time.
Right.
but yeah, here on the same point, they work as experts to provide expert judgment to whom you can basically consult because they are expert of their areas. They are the one who can work as a trusted advisors or some experts who can provide some expert opinion if project manager needs help. For example, when they are planning, when project managers and project management team is planning and they are talking about different work packages, they are talking about different activities and how much time would it take, then they can consult with the functional managers because they are champion of their fields. Another important thing is communication. Uh, when project managers communicate, they communicate in different ways. They communicate to the project team with the help of downwards communication and with the senior management with the help of upwards communication. And similarly, when they communicate with the functional managers, they do uh, using horizontal communication techniques. Now, my question is when we talk about downwards communication, what does it mean?
Is that the one communicating the progress and update of the projects that are to the, right down to the team members
Yes,
involved in the project?
true. So basically, when we talk about downwards communication, it talks about different type of reports, for example, status report, for example, progress report, and different type of tasks that are disseminated to different team members. That is basically downwards communication. And when we talk about upwards communication, what do you think, guys? What is included in upwards communication?
Status reports.
Yeah, status reports, but in terms of what?
In terms of accomplishments and
Mhm.
issues to resolve.
Yeah, most of the time, the project team and project manager, they normally try to resolve the issues within themselves until if issues couldn't be resolved and they need to escalate them to the senior management. Otherwise, when we talk about upwards communication, most of the time we just talk about in terms of dollars because senior managers are mostly concerned about that how much money is spent on the project, if project is on track or not, if project is still under budget or not, if it is exceeding budget, how much more budget is needed. So in upwards communication, most of the discussions are around schedule and around budget. So status report in terms of money or monetary values. Most of these stakeholders are internal stakeholders. However, there could be some external stakeholders. What could be different examples of external stakeholders, Les?
Customer,
Customers, yeah. Clients or customers, yes. Who else?
suppliers,
Yeah, suppliers. Sometimes we call them different industries, different naming convention. We call them vendors, or even they could be our contractors. Who else?
community,
Community, yes. And especially in New Zealand environment, community is one of the most important stakeholders, especially if we talk about Treaty of Waitangi, then we have this bicultural partnership. Not only we engage the community, but also we communicate, we engage both partners of that Treaty of Waitangi. So that's pretty important as well, community. Who else?
Creditors.
Yeah, sorry.
Creditors.
Yeah. So you're talking about creditors.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Yeah. Who else?
Government.
Yeah, government. It is one of the important stakeholder. Government and all the regulatory authorities. Anyone else? Any other example of external stakeholders? Basically, clients of the client, or in other words, end users. They are also our stakeholders. Does it make sense?
Yes.
Yep.
Now, before talking further about different roles, let's define stakeholders. We talked about that there are internal stakeholders, there are external stakeholders, but what does it mean, stakeholders? Yes, Grace, what do you think?
You can see me trying to unmute.
Not really, but yeah.
Well, yeah, like stated in there, it's these are the people or the group of team that would need to know up to a certain degree, you know, of any level of information or communication, update, status, or risks of only to the extent of what is involved in that particular stakeholder, external or internal, I suppose. So I guess, yes.
True. All they are our stakeholders. Yeah. Anybody else? Anything to add? Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. So what about teams, like we're talking a manufacturing site, the teams on the floor?
Yeah, they are our stakeholder, no doubt.
What do we call them?
Yeah, because they could be impacted or can impact on our project, isn't it?
Sure. Do they become an end user?
Yeah, and also they could become the end user, especially when we have this, we have internal project. When the users of project outcomes are our own departments or our own organization, then they become our end users. They are our stakeholders, no doubt. Now let's formally define this term, stakeholders. Stakeholders are basically individuals, group of individuals, organizations, governments, or community members who can impact or can be impacted or perceive themselves to be impacted by project activities, project decisions, and project outcomes are called stakeholders. So this definition is a detailed definition that covers all the aspects, and it has three portions. An individual, group of individuals, or any organization could be stakeholder that can impact the project or can be impacted by the project or even perceive themselves to be impacted by the project activities, project decisions, and project outcomes. We talked about project manager, and we said that project manager is basically a center of any project. He is one of the most important, he or she is one of the most important member of any project team. In fact, I believe that most of you have attended orchestra shows where different musical experts uh, with the help of many different musical instruments, for example, violin, drum, etc., they run the whole show. Uh, there are two roles on any orchestra show. One role is basically performers. The other role is conductor. Performers are basically subject matter experts. They are experts of their own musical instruments. On the other side, conductor is the person who sits in the middle and conduct the whole show. But he or she is not expert of any musical instrument. Same is with the project manager. Project manager may don't know about plumbing or electrician work or any particular technical work, but he or she is the one who runs the whole show. Basically, project manager work as a gel between all different team members and complete a project in an integrated fashion. Guys, if you are a project manager and you are managing a project, can you please give me examples, some particular examples that what type of work a project manager normally does on a project?
Scheduling resources.
Yeah, so he or she is the one who does not only scheduling, scheduling is of two types, scheduling of the activities, scheduling of the resources. What else?
Managing the budget.
Yeah, budget management. Not only managing the budget, but before managing the budget, he is the one who is responsible for uh, cost estimation or budget estimation or budget planning. Yes. Anyone else?
Issue resolution.
Yeah, issue resolutions. Always project manager keeps an issue log and keep on trying to resolve all those issues on the project. Issues could be related to schedule, could be related to resources, could be related to budget, so on and so forth. So issue resolution, true.
Yep. Keeping everyone informed.
Yeah, that's very, very important. Or in other words, communications. In fact, any project manager on his or her role, 90% of the time does communications. That's his main role, communications with everyone, with the team, with the senior management, with the functional manager, with external stakeholders, so on and so forth, so that everybody should be informed, everybody should be engaged. Yes. Anything else? So, yes, yes, Sukanya.
Yes, sir. It's also monitoring progress
Yeah.
and ensure for customer satisfaction as well.
So at the end, his main task is customer satisfaction. But during the project, keep on monitoring and controlling project work. So these are different activities normally a project manager does on any project. Similarly, portfolio managers and program managers, they are responsible of their portfolios and their programs. And we have already seen that a portfolio role is normally a senior level role where portfolio manager ensure that organization strategies are well implemented with portfolios or components of portfolios. For example, sub-portfolios, programs, projects, and operations. Similarly, the role of project manager is to manage multiple projects in a coordinated fashion to get the desired outcomes. PMI talks about three important talents required for any project manager. This is depicted in this diagram. In fact, PMI recommends that any project manager should have at least three different type of competencies. One, technical project management. Second, leadership. Third, strategic and business management. And if you remember, when we talk about course outline from 1st January 2021, in fact, exam domains are same like these talent triangle components. What do you think, guys? Isn't it? Technical project management is the knowledge of project management and project management processes. On the other side, leadership is about people, about stakeholders, how to basically lead them for a successful outcome. And similarly, business environment is the knowledge about uh, business and business strategies. In fact, what I did, uh, I develop a chart. I'm going to email you this chart so that everybody should have this chart and can understand that what are the core competencies a project manager requires. I call it self-mastery, project manager self-mastery. I divided it into 6 different broader categories. The first one is leadership skills. The second one is communication skills. Third is tool knowledge. Fourth is expert judgment. Fifth is analytical skills. And the last but not the least is personal skills. Now, let's talk about subcategories of them. Can anybody help me to read the subcategories under leadership skills? Pedro?
Um, the sub skills are the change agent skills,
Yeah.
negotiation skills, personal development skills, team development, and trusted advisor.
Yeah. And communication skills. Tanya, can you please help me?
Sure. Active listening, communication tailoring, facilitation, non-verbal and verbal communication, visual communication skills, professional writing, and relationship building.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Tanya. And then tool knowledge. Sukanya.
Sorry, sir, I didn't see clearly.
Okay. Anybody else can see clearly? Maybe Grace?
Yep. That's communication and collaboration tools, desktop tools, reporting and analysis tools, requirements management tools, and modeling tools.
And then there comes analytical skills. What do you think, Mayra? What are different types of analytical skills?
We have creative thinking, conceptual and detailed thinking, decision making, design thinking, numeracy, problem solving, research skills, resourcefulness, and systems thinking.
Yeah, thanks a lot. And then there comes personal skills. And who is left? Maybe Eman?
Yes.
Yeah, can you go?
Adaptability, ethics, learning, multitasking, self-announcement, time management, work ethics.
Yeah, self-awareness, time management, work ethics, and objectivity. So these are different type of leadership, communication, tool knowledge, expert judgment, analytical, and personal skills. If you want to work as a project manager, you can start thinking about them, and they are quite a lot. Someone can think that how can I achieve all of them? But basically, if we talk about an approach called Kaizen approach, Kaizen is basically the approach of development. Anybody can develop based on Kaizen approach. They can improve themselves bit by bit on a very micro level. Small developments combined together to add quite a lot of values in anyone. So I will share this chart with you. Now let's move further. We have already seen different soft skills required for a project manager. Now let's talk about business environment. We are talking about business environment from many previous slides. Now let's dig deep. What is a business environment and what are different type of business environments and how they influence on any project. In fact, when we talk about business environment, it can influence on any project using two ways. One is enterprise environmental factors. The other one is OPAs. Remember guys, each organization is unique. Its culture is unique. Its structure is unique. Its people are unique. It means that its environment is unique. This is basically called the context. Context always vary. And whenever we do project, we always keep that context in mind. For example, if we are working for Spark and its culture, uh, its context would be different from a construction company, not only from a construction company, but from the same company in the same domain. For example, Vodafone. The culture of Vodafone could be totally different from 2 Degrees or Spark or any other telco. So when you are doing project for a particular organization, you must have good understanding of the context, the business environment. Okay, and we can divide this business environment into two types. One is called enterprise environmental factors, EEFs. In fact, enterprise environmental factors and organizational process assets, they are very, very important inputs for most of the project management processes. Again, we didn't study project management processes in depth, but we know one thing, that there are 49 project management processes, and out of 49, 24 processes are only from planning. In fact, almost 50% of the processes are related with project planning, and both EEFs and OPAs, they are the important inputs for planning planning processes. So it's pretty important. We should have a very good understanding of EFs and OPAs. Anybody can help me to read EFs, its definition? Myra.
Sure. EEFs are conditions not under the immediate control of the team that influence, constrain, or direct the portfolio, program, or project.
Yeah. So when we talk about the environmental factors, they are never under the control of any project team, but they normally influence, they normally limit, and sometimes direct a project and its activities. EFs could be divided into two types. They could be external, they could be internal. And then there comes organizational process assets. Can anybody read its definition?
Yep, sure. Organizational process assets, or OPAs, are the plans, processes, policies, procedures, and knowledge bases specific to and used by a performing organization.
And in fact, these OPAs, they guide project teams how to use these plans, how to use these processes, policies, procedures, previous lesson learned, knowledge bases, knowledge repositories, subject matter experts knowledge, and also the templates, for example, project plan templates, scheduling templates, project documents templates, status reports templates. All these basically can help project teams to complete the project in accordance with the organizational requirements. In fact, we can divide OTAs into three types. The first one is processes, policies, and procedures a project management team needs to follow so that it could be compliant with the organizational requirements. And then the second type is corporate knowledge. And when we talk about corporate knowledge base, this knowledge base could be in the databases, it could be in the knowledge repositories, it could be into lesson learned. So knowledge repositories, and nowadays it could be in the form of retrospectives. And when we talk about knowledge, in fact, we can divide knowledge into two types. One is, we call it explicit knowledge. The other type of knowledge is called tacit knowledge. Explicit knowledge is that well-defined knowledge that could be represented in writing, that could be explained, and it is easy to basically take care of this type of knowledge, explicit knowledge. However, tacit knowledge is a knowledge that really very tough to explain this type of knowledge. It's more like your personal experience, your personal beliefs, your know-how about doing things. For example, it's pretty easy. Just watch a YouTube video and start painting your home. Uh, you watch maybe 100 videos, but when you start doing your painting, and the way of your painting and the way of a specialist painter is much different. How they basically brush, it's totally different as you do, because that specialist painter, they have that type of tacit knowledge. They might not be able to explain how to use the brush, but uh, they can use that brush in a very fantastic way. And in fact, the third type, team uh, and SMEs and their knowledge is example of tacit knowledge. In fact, teams and SMEs, they are knowledge repositories. They are living knowledge repositories. So it's very important that you should retain your employees because they really know your business. And normally, loyal employees are the best asset for any organization. Any questions?
Not from me.
Okay, guys. So now we are moving further, and we are basically going bit quick so that we can cover today's topics. Next is assumptions. This concept, what do you think? What are assumptions on any given project? How can we define assumptions? What does it mean, assumptions?
An idea that's not proven.
Yeah, true. So this is an idea on which we believe, but it's not proven. So when we start our projects, normally we always make some assumptions. In fact, at the time of project initiation, when we are developing our project charter, we also talk about the assumptions that we are going to make about our project. But again, these assumptions, we believe that they would be true, but they might not be true. For example, we believe that, okay, we have these 10 team members and they will be with us throughout the project life cycle. That is maybe 1 year long, but we really don't know, isn't it? So these are our project assumptions. In case if assumptions come true, it's very good. But if assumption proven false, then they become our risks. And then we have to manage those risks. And then there is another concept, constraint. We have already studied about triple constraint or iron triangle, where we talk about scope, schedule, and budget. They are the most important constraints. However, there are some other constraints. As a project manager and as a project team, we have to complete our project within these constraints, within these limitations. And these constraints are not only schedule, cost, and scope, but also quality, customer satisfaction, risks, and resources. They all are our limitations, and we have to uh, complete a project in a successful manner while taking care of these constraints. Previously, I mentioned that when I was doing my PMP exam, most of the questions, 80% of the questions were around stakeholders, around people. So same would be the case with most of you guys. Stakeholders management, this concept is very little, but it's very complex. Managing stakeholders and engaging them in a proper way is a difficult task. You remember that there were 10 different knowledge areas. When you are talking about stakeholders, you should give a full attention to these 3 knowledge areas. The first one is managing stakeholder engagement. The second one is resource management, because human resource is also our stakeholders. And the last one is communications management. In fact, stakeholder management and communications management go hand in hand. Many things are overlapping in these knowledge areas. Another concept before going deep into project management framework, or WPD, WPI, work performance information, and WPRs. What do you think, guys? What's the difference between data, information, and reports? Tanya.
Sorry, could you just repeat the question, please?
What do you think? What's the difference between data, information, and reports?
Data is going to be maybe the primary source of information that you're
Yes.
setting a project up on.
Yeah.
Work performance is maybe tracking, monitoring
Yeah.
state of the project,
Yeah.
and reports are the outputs from analyzing those two, I guess.
Yeah. So basically what happens is, when we talk about work performance data, these are our standard measurements, standard information, standard data coming out of our project plan, our schedule, from our cost spending, from our status reports. And normally this data is very random and raw data. We normally call it work performance data. This data is of no use until if it is properly analyzed and assessed. So what can we do? This raw data could be, let me use different pens. This raw data that I showed in the above figure, in color, let me change the in color. So this data is a raw data. However, what can we do? We can analyze it and we can sort this data. And later, by doing further evaluation and analysis, we can organize this data. When we analyze and assess our raw data, it becomes information that makes some sense. And after that, if we present this data in the form of graphs, then they in a form that makes some sense for our stakeholders, then this become our work performance reports. So as a PMP aspirant, it's pretty important that you should have understanding what's the difference between work performance data when it is generated, and it's who is responsible for analyzing and assessing work performance data and representing that data in a form that is useful for the stakeholders. Any question? When we will study different knowledge areas, different process groups, different processes, we will come across a variety of different tools and techniques. But the most common techniques used are data gathering techniques, data analysis techniques, data representation, decision-making techniques, communication techniques, interpersonal and team skills, estimation techniques, project management information system, expert judgment, and meetings. We will talk about all these techniques in much more depth when we will come across these techniques. But here, just to remember in your mind, these are some of the common techniques used on project management. And that was basically end of chapter 2. Let me have a look on the time, but we still got 1 hour. Any question till now?
No, sir.
Anyone else? Okay, guys. So now we are moving further. This chapter is about project management framework as established by PMI. Here we are going to talk about project management life cycle, project management phases, project management approaches, and in fact, a system view of the whole PMI framework for project management. Now, firstly start with the project life cycle. What do you think, guys? What does it mean, project life cycle?
It comprises from the start until the end of the project.
Fully agreed. So whatever work you do, whatever activities you do, or whatever phases through which your project passes through is called project life cycle. In other words, any project consists of multiple phases. Please note down, these phases vary from industry to industry, vary from project to project. Previously, we studied about initiating, planning, executing, monitoring and controlling, and closing. Please remember that initiating till closing, they are not project phases. Project phases are specific with the industry, with the project itself. Initiating till closing, they all are different process groups. In fact, you all are experienced. What I really want, just take 5 minutes and see the projects on which you worked. Just take any project on which you are currently working or you previously worked, and develop its life cycle with the help of phases through which a project passes through. Just take 5 minutes in your own time, and then we will start our discussion.
Okay.